Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Ask 72 video. In today's video, I'm back with another interview, and I'm here with Mikie Webber-Kane. Mikie, how are we?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on, mate. And so am I right in saying you're a lightweight who's 24 and is 7-0?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yep, great. Okay, and so if you're on your here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you're doing a live video, and let's get straight into it. So, I'm going to start off with the question which you always like to start off with. Why did you start boxing?
I originally started boxing just purely for fitness because when I was younger, it was all football. I was a proper football head, wanted to be a famous footballer, as like most young boys do.
Yeah.
I broke my arm, unfortunately, when I was a bit younger. Right. Was in a cast for quite a long period of time, about a month and a half, 2 months. So I put on a bit of weight, just eating poorly and playing computer games, not really doing too much, because I couldn't really go out with my friends and do stuff because I was in the cast and it was all the way up from like wrist to shoulder, so I was very limited to what I could do. But my neighbour lived over the road, Tony Norman. He offered me to do some boxing fitness classes just to get fit for the season again, as him and my dad were friends, and started off with that, trained once a week, then it just built up into training more and more and more. Ended up sacking football off because I just fell in love with boxing, and then it just slowly progressed from having a first spar to a skill bout, and then just progressed from there.
Indeed. And so do you remember that first amateur fight of yours?
Yes, I do actually. I boxed a paratrooper, and he was such a tough boy. They are very, very tough lads, and he didn't have much defence, hands down, strong boy, swinging for the fences, but it was a good fight. I boxed in the unlicensed circuit for a while first, and then boxed as an amateur, then turned pro.
Okay, so it's a good start to things. And so what was your biggest achievement from the amateurs?
So I boxed EB for 4 fights, went 4-0. Then we split and went to the Amateur Boxing Alliance, where I got to represent the London ABA against the number 1 and the number 2 boy in Spain. So I boxed in Barcelona, and then I boxed one of them in London. So as it goes as an amateur, that's definitely got to be up there, and also won the Northwest division. So I think in EB it's equivalent to winning the London ABA. To my knowledge, but I boxed and won the under 63 kilo and the under 60 kilo Northwest Division titles.
Wow, okay, that's very impressive, mate. And then how many amateur fights did you end up having?
In total, I only ended up, I think it was like 12 or 13 in total, but because of the unlicensed first, I didn't want to go in as EB with some boxing experience and boxing no-bout boys when I was a capable boxer. So when we officially first turned over as an amateur, I put down as a 7-win, 7-loss boy, so a 14-bout boy, just so I can get boys with a bit more experience, because you need to push yourself and test yourself to improve, and just beating people up that you know that you're better, and I think it's morally wrong for starters, and you're just not going to progress as a person or a fighter. So we put it in for experience, but for total, for myself, I had 12. We were going to have a busy season, and then COVID hit. So we sat down, me and my coach, and Graham Everett, who is my manager now from Norwich. We sat down, had a conversation about turning over, and we thought it was the right decision at the right time, so we did. No,
I respect that kind of mindset of wanting to have the tough test to test yourself. And is that kind of mindset gone with you into the pro side of things?
Yeah, of course. As a professional, you want to spar and fight people that are at good caliber, because you're always going to learn and progress, And out of all my fights, I've took everything that has been thrown at me. I've learned bits from different fighters that I've boxed, even through sparring and through fights, and took it out, worked on things that we need to work on for the next camp, then implemented them into the next fight, and then obviously in the next one you find out other little things that you can improve on, then you just go back to the drawing board, build up again. Then it's the same process for every fight, but testing myself, something I always want to do. Obviously as a fighter, my job is I turn up, I make sure I make weight, I make sure I'm fit, I train hard. When it comes to fights, my trainer, my manager, They've got the experience to put me in the good fights that I need, the right fights, the learning fights that I need, and so they tell me who I'm fighting, I say yes, and just crack on with it, really.
That's great. That's a great mindset. And well, I mean, of course, doing very, very well in the professional side of things, of course, unbeaten so far. And so you've had these 7 professional fights, and which one would you say you've performed your best in?
To specifically pick one I performed my best in is quite hard, because I've boxed a different variety of fighters, and I've boxed through a different variety of weights also. But I think I've been able to show a different style of me. My last fight with Christian Narvaez, all my fights previously before that, so I boxed very smart, tactical, move around very well. Not completely back footy, but having to pick my moments to go forwards. Where that fight with Christian, I could show and my dominant side and my assertive and aggressive side in that fight, because he was a very negative back foot fighter. So I think I looked very good and exciting in that fight. But as a whole, as I said before, I take bits from every fight, and you always just go back and improve. So I think every fight you're going to see a better version of me.
Indeed, that's great to hear. And well, I mean, it's good to hear that you are improving with that fight, as that was your first 6-rounder as well. And so, how comfortable were you having that 6-round fight?
Yeah, I was very comfortable. As a 4-round fighter, as I get into that 4th round, I start feeling my feet and I start getting into the swing of it, and then. Yeah. After that 4th round, I was going back and I was done. So to have them extra 2 rounds to push on and then keep going was really, really good to showcase that level. I am fit enough for the 6-rounders. I'd like to feel as if I'll be able to be more than fit enough for the 8s, and when we come to it 10s and 12s. But I do feel like I'm a tactical, longer distance fighter rather than a quick, sharp 4-rounder fight. Even in the amateurs, I believe that I wasn't one that would go in and just throw flurries and flurries and flurries and flurries. I'll pick my shots well, and I'll set the shots up, and I believe in the pros that I do the similar sort of thing. I don't rush my work. I like to break people down, hitting the body, open them up to the head, and then wear people down throughout the fight rather than just trying to run in and be wild from the start.
No, that's great. That kind of strategy is something which you always got to have, and it's good to see that you kind of have that so early on in your career as well. And well, I mean, of course you are early on in your career, and so what would you say is your main motivation?
To try and be the best that I can possibly be in myself. I know I work hard in and out of the gym, and I know that I'm progressing. I feel that in my performances, I feel that in my training. My trainer Tony has put so much work into me. He's the first person to put a pair of gloves on me, and I stayed with him since I first started boxing for fitness.
That's great.
I can't see myself moving trainer ever. We've added got Graham Everett on as a manager. Obviously, a great manager, knows boxing inside and out. If there's anything about boxing that you don't need to know, he will know it anyway. So he's very knowledgeable, and he also helps out with the training as well. I go down to the gym with him as well also. So it motivates me to I wouldn't say please them, but to show them what they're putting their time and their sacrifices into me is paying off, and it is worth it. The last thing I want to do is then sacrifice so much time and family time that they could be having when they're putting time into me, then me not get results for them through that, and my own sacrifices as well. I don't see my family and my friends and my partner as much as I would like to, but in the long run, it'll definitely be worth it. And it motivates me. That time I'm sacrificing is my motivation to make sure that I do something and make it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see certain fighters kind of jump around coaches and never settle properly with a coach, and it can affect them. It can make them struggle, and it's good to see that you have found this coach which you have such a close relationship on so early on.
Yeah, no, I agree. You have to be with someone that you trust wholeheartedly. Boxing isn't a sport where you can go in boxing, you can go into a fight and get seriously hurt. So you have to have that 100% trust and faith in people that are in your team and you work with. And if people bounce around continuously through trainers and managers, it's hard to have that relationship and that trust factor. And I trust Tony and Graham in my life, and if they said something, I wouldn't even question it. I'll just do it.
That's great to hear. That's great. And I mean, of course, you've got a fight just recently been announced, April 28th. And so, how's preparations overall been going for it?
Yeah, it's amazing. I was away when the fight got announced originally, but it doesn't matter to us. You know, we don't. People have. I believe camps are more necessary for people that are in the pinnacle of their career, the very, very top, you know, where they have that out time because the camps and the fights are so intense. But, you know, I'm now fighting 6-rounders, so I don't necessarily need a specific time frame where I have a camp and I don't train outside of that. You know, so even though I was away, I was still running, still doing all my conditioning. So I'm always ready, I'm always training hard, you know. So, but the show itself is an amazing show, you know, on Boxing Social, been able to watch on Fire TV, you know, so it's a big opportunity for myself and a lot of fighters on the card, and I'm just excited to be a part of all.
Yeah, and to speak about the fact that it is on Fight TV, how excited are you to have your fight on TV, I suppose?
Absolutely amazing, you know, I haven't had that opportunity yet, so to be able to, you know, have that opportunity and showcase my talent to more than just the people that are at the venue. You know, there's a lot of people that they find it hard to get to the shows. You know, some shows aren't exactly cheap. There's travel, it's costs for the day, family commitments and work commitments as well. It is hard for some people that really, really do want you to do well to come to the show. So for them to have that option to be able to watch it is really nice for myself, because I know that they message me and they care and they want to see me do well, but to have them be able to physically watch the fight happen it would be really nice.
That's great to hear. It's good to hear that you've got that good supportive fan base. And so of course you're fighting April 28th now, and I mean it has just recently been announced, so do you happen to know your opponent yet, or not quite yet?
No, to my knowledge I don't know my opponent. My opponent isn't on BoxRec yet. Obviously that'll be in discussions with my manager, but to me it doesn't matter. I know that my manager will get me a fight no matter what, and it'll be a good fight for me. It'll help me with my career, my progression as a fighter. So, and you said I've got that trust factor, 100% trust in my manager, 100% trust in my trainer. So whoever they get, I know it'll be good for me.
Definitely, I'm sure it will be. And so for anybody who might be coming to watch this fight and haven't watched you fight before, what would you say makes yourself interesting as a fighter?
I think the fact that I can box pretty, but I can also have that aggressive side and go forwards. You know, I've been training really hard on a lot of things that we want to showcase of my ability that we haven't necessarily been able to do yet. So, like I said, I'm always improving as a fighter, but I think the most interesting, and I think that's nice for fans to see, is that can switch at any point in that fight. I could be back foot and then I just flick that switch, and I'm the aggressive, I'm being the assertive, I've got the person on the ropes, and you know, I think that is an exciting kind of style to watch.
Indeed it is, and well, I mean, of course you're kind of getting into the good part of your career now, not too far away I'm sure from title fights, and so how far do you believe you can go?
I have the same belief in myself that my trainer and my manager has in me, and I think that I can go very, very, I can go very far in this sport. You know, how far a lot of people get, it can be limited with the team around them, and I know the team that I have are like second to none. They've always got my best interest in their heart throughout every decision that they make. None of it is for their own their self gain. Yeah. It is all for me, and that same commitment towards my career is the same for the other fighters in the gym also. So I believe that I can get very far with the amazing team that I have around me and the ability that I have as a fighter. I know that I can do it, so it's just getting the right shows, the right fights, and proving to everyone else that I can do it.
Indeed it is. Okay, well, I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
Yeah. Massive thank you to all my sponsors. Obviously, as a full-time athlete, you have expenses you have to pay. Medicals aren't cheap, and even your nutrition. So massive thank you to my sponsors. If I can just list them off, I've got my main sponsors: Energize. I've got Foreign Angels, Hippodrome Circus, Ocean Rooms Gorson, Anglia Copy and Print, East Coast Casuals, Daddy Muscle, Shockwave Specialist, What's Hip, Craig Levers. Thank you all. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. Also, Jack Cope Nutrition, making weight is absolutely unreal. Like, it's so easy. Never have to stress. There's times where I'm actually eating a tub of ice cream the day before the weigh, and then I eat breakfast, eat lunch, still make weight perfectly fine. I don't have to stress at all. Amazing family, partners, everyone that supports me, manager, trainer. Just thank you to everyone. This dream of mine is a reality because of everyone's commitment towards me and everyone's support. Everyone buys tickets. It means the world. Thank you all.
Nice one. Well, thank you very much for doing this, mate. Maybe a little bit further along down the line we can come back and do another interview.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you for having me on. It's been nice. Thank you.
Okay. And so if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and thanks for watching.